What's up everybody? As you can see, I'm filming this video from the new and improved Untamed Strength. If you're ever in the Northern California area, feel free to stop by, bring me some food, and I'll let you train here for free. I'll be posting a video tour very soon, so be on the lookout for that. Anyways, I am very excited to announce today's guest. I'm gonna introduce him and I'm gonna try to keep it short, but it's gonna be very hard because I could go on and on about this guy. About 4.5 years ago, I stumbled upon a YouTube channel featuring this guy named Chandler Marchman. After watching his first video, I was hooked. I watched all of his past videos. I checked every single day to see if he uploaded a new video. I could not get enough of this guy's stuff. What attracted me to his channel most was the fact that he wasn't just another fake tanned, oiled up bro teaching you how to do cable crossovers. This dude was a strongman competitor. He owned his own gym. He's strong as hell. He's athletic. He's explosive. He's jacked. He truly is the whole package. At the time I found his YouTube channel, he was offering a service where if you signed up to be a member, he would send you weekly programming. After only a few weeks of following exactly what he was telling me to do, I could not believe the results I was getting. It completely flipped the way I was training upside down. And all of a sudden it hit me. So this is how I'm supposed to be training. To this day, I still implement the things I learned then and the things I learned from him now into my own training. The reason I'm telling you guys all of this is because I can say without a doubt that if there was no Chandler Marchman, I'm 99% sure there would be no Untamed Strength. That's how much of an impact this dude had on me. He taught me so much from an athlete perspective, from a strength coach perspective, and from a business owner's perspective. So I would highly encourage you guys to check out this dude's content. Anyways, I was talking to Chandler the other day. I was asking how he was doing, he was asking how I was doing. And I told him Untamed Strength is doing really well, but I feel bad because this move has been extremely time consuming and it's put my YouTube channel in the back seat. Lately, I haven't had the time to pump out as much content as you guys would like. So Chandler said, is there anything I can do to help? I immediately took him up on his offer and I said, yes, help these guys out with their front squat. Chandler agreed and he's here to talk to you guys about the front squat. Pay attention to what this guy says. It's no BS. He doesn't just talk the talk, he actually practices what he preaches. So without further ado, take it away, Chandler.
And a good day to you all, my Untamed Strength meathead brethren. As Alan told you, my name is Chandler Marchman. I am a former competitive strongman, powerlifter, bodybuilder, and gym owner that now focuses 100% of my time, efforts, and energy in helping others accomplish what they want to accomplish inside the gym. As he said, what we've got for you today is basically everything you need to know about front squats. The bastard stepbrother of back squats that no one seems to like to do, however, is something you definitely need to be doing if you're focusing on trying to build more size, strength, and explosiveness, as well as become just a more complete and badass lifter that looks good while kicking ass. So, that said, before I get into the tutorial and how you can program in these front squats for fast and efficient success, what I want to do first is just say thank you to Alan. Here's something you need to know about Alan. He is one righteous dude. If you know his backstory, you know he is someone that definitely deserves the respect, admiration, and trust of all of you. You are in good hands, and I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to talk to you all and help you achieve your goals inside the gym. Now, let's talk about the front squat. Okay, let's first address the key differences between the back squat and the front squat, as well as what benefits doing front squats in your program is going to bring to a greater extent than focusing primarily on simply doing back squats. All right, first off, the back squat is an axial loaded lift that is going to focus on more muscle recruitment in the posterior chain. So it's obviously going to be glutes and hamstrings more so than the front squat, which is anterior loaded lift that focuses more on the anterior chain, the quads. That's why you see a lot of Olympic lifters that have far bigger quads than, say, power lifters, which are more ass and hamstring dominant. Now, as far as key performance gains that you can get more so from the front squat than the back squat, they're pretty much similar. They're both going to increase power output for any triple extension based event like jumping or sprinting. But here's one key difference if you're involved in sports that might make front squats more attractive to you. In a sprint, say you're starting out of the gate, all right, there's two phases. There is the starting phase, and then there's the acceleration phase. Acceleration phase is going to be far more posterior chain dominant, whereas the starting phase, where you're jumping out of the blocks, far more anterior chain dominant, which is why running out of the gates, starting off, exploding out, is going to be far more beneficial for you to improve the strength and explosiveness that you can build with doing front squats. And speaking of strength and explosiveness, we're the type of meatheads that give a damn how we perform. We want to go into the gym and automatically own the place. We want to be the strongest bastard in there. So of course, even if you don't go into the gym with the intentions of having a heavier front squat and care far more about your performance in the back squat and the deadlift, here's what's great. I am a believer in the conjugate method. And the conjugate method states that improving, say, the front squat will also have a strong carryover into the improvement of your back squat and deadlift alike. So even if you don't like front squats, you don't like the fact that it feels like it's choking your ass out while breaking your damn wrist, hey, plug them in for the simple fact that it's going to help you build a bigger bar bending deadlift and back squat. Okay, so we know that the front squat is an interior loaded exercise that focuses on building massive, mammoth-ass quads, as well as building tremendous starting speed out of the gates for sprints, as well as working on the weak points which bring up your deadlift and your back squat. Not only that, but it's also going to increase your intra-abdominal strength, or core strength, if you will, and will ultimately just make you a bigger, more badass lifter inside and out of the gym. But the fact remains, how can you plug them into your program to balance everything out and get the benefits without turning your back on the other two core lifts that you have fallen in love with, the back squat and the deadlift? Well, here's what I like to do. First off, after retiring from strongman, I had some serious degenerative disc issues that disallow me to do any axial loading event. Anytime I put a 45 on the bar and get it on my back, it feels like my spine is about to crash through my asshole. It's because the last event I did in strongman, I had an 800-pound yoke that I had to carry for 100 feet. Didn't really agree with my back. That said, here's what I tell all of my clients to do in order to work in front squats with your squat routine that you typically do, which is typically going to be, I'm assuming, a back squat. This is killer, so definitely throw it in because you're going to see marked improvements from this point on if you follow it. Now, as I mentioned before, I am a huge believer in conjugate methodology. As a matter of fact, I think Louis Simmons and his West Side method of training is the absolute word of God in meathead heavy lifting circles. And Louis Simmons himself is absolute meathead Jesus. All right, if you haven't checked him out, read up on his methodologies. They work. They will get you devastatingly strong, explosive, and even jacked all at the same time. He's the shit. Read up on him. Now, the reason why he is so ahead of the game as far as strength and conditioning and building record-setting lifters inside the gym is this. He's managed to find some empirical evidence that becoming proficient in becoming more absolute or just more maximally strong and explosive in not just your regular core lift, for instance the squat, the back squat, given the fact that he is a powerlifting coach and that is one of the 3 power lifts, he found that becoming maximally strong in other movement patterns that are kind of in the same league, using different exercises like, let's say, the front squat, the box squat, and doing squats with different specialty bars, has a strong carryover into the maximal strength that you can build in doing the back squat. And the way he works it in is by using waves in maximal strength lifts. So if you're doing the max effort method, what he would do is, let's say, move from anywhere from a 5 rep max to a 1 rep max and cycle those different lifts in so that you can become stronger and more proficient in each, with the end goal of building a massive back squat. So what I would do if I were you is this. I would put together a list of all the different squat variations you can do. So for instance, if you're just in a regular gym, you can typically just do a back squat, a box squat, and a front squat. So for just the sake of keeping it simple, let's say you cycle in those 3 exercises as your core lift for the next 10 weeks. What you can do is this: when you're going heavy, when you have heavy lifting days, what I would do is this: I would work down from a 5 rep max to a 1 rep max. So 1 week you do front squats for a 5 rep max, meaning you do front squats with the heaviest weight possible for 5 reps. Once you reach that 5 rep max, you go on to your weak point training. The next week you would do the same thing for a back squat. And the next week would be for the box squat, so on and so forth, until you work your way down to the 4 rep max, the 3 rep max, the 2 rep max, then the 1 rep max. Doing that will get you devastatingly strong and explosive. Focus on organizing your training, working in waves, working your way down to a 1 rep max in the back squat, and I can guarantee you, by doing it like that, cycling through the different lifts, becoming more strong and explosive, more proficient in different types of squat variations with different types of squat bars, if you're lucky enough to have them, will get you so much stronger, so much faster. Do that and you will definitely be pleased with the results that you get. Okay, so we talked about everything that you need to know about the difference between the back squat and the front squat, the benefits of doing front squats, and how you can program them in. Now let's talk about the simple form secrets that will allow you to maximize your performance and maximize your natural strength so that you get the most out of the front squat and you keep from busting your shit up. Now, right out of the gates, you need to know that flexibility and mobility issues in your wrist, your shoulders, your back, your hips, and your soleus can be limiting factors in your body's ability to get in the proper positions that will allow you to get the most out of the front squat. So make sure you do a quality dynamic warm-up that primes your nervous system as well as works on mobility so that you can get in the proper position that we're going to talk about with the form cues that I'm going to show you right now. All right, let's first talk about hand and bar placement. I call it hand placement because it's not really going to be a grip, because you're not gripping the bar. It's actually going to be laying right in between the palms in the beginning of where your fingers start, and you're going to have the bar laying right across your clavicles, forming a nice little rack. All right, that's why they call it the rack position. And what I like to do is this: I like to be at arm's length, having my hands a little past shoulder width, and then having the bar laying right in here. All right, right in there. What I'll do is I will poke my elbows through, get it nice and tight, tucked in to where it's literally kind of right laying across my clavicles and kind of, starting to choke me out a little bit. It's going to be uncomfortable, but it's a front squat. It's what it is. And what we're doing from there, keeping those elbows up, and now you're in the proper squat position. The reason I like this versus doing a cross arm or even one where you're using straps to make up for a lack of wrist flexibility is that those two variations, unlike the proper rack position, are going to be dead end lifting positions. The reason I call them dead ends is because say you wanted to do a split jerk or a push press even. You're not going to be able to do that in those positions, but you are going to be able to do it in a proper rack position. All right, so in order to be able to maximize the possibilities and increase overall performance and control with the front squat, stick with the fingertips approach while keeping it in that proper rack position across your clavicles. Now, after you get into the proper rack position, the bar's laying across your clavicles and you've got your elbows up and kind of pointed in to better engage your back, the next thing you need to do is focus on your stance. Now, what I'll do now is kind of put together a little side video somewhere around here to better show it. But what you want to do there is to get a little bit wider than hip width and have your toes very slightly pointed out. The only difference in this and the back squat is that obviously with the back squat you're going to be a little bit wider to have a stronger base, but ultimately you're still going to have the same cues in trying to push your knees out so that you can better engage your hamstrings and your ass. Even though it is an anterior dominant movement, you can still engage your hamstrings and your glutes. So focus while getting your feet set to push your knees out, spread the floor so that you can engage and initiate muscle fibers in your hamstrings and glutes as well as your quads. Okay, so we're in the proper rack position. We've got a good stance set. Now what we need to focus on is proper intra-abdominal bracing. And what we're going to do about that, and what I mean by that, is proper breathing techniques to help you best utilize the Valsalva maneuver to take advantage of your God-given weight belt that you have inside. All right, so what we're going to do in order to create a stronger foundation that allows us to be sturdier and be able to exert more force and get the most out of our natural strength while doing the front squat is pull air into our belly just like you would for any squat, bench, or deadlift, and hold it in order to create a stronger base, stronger support for the for the spine. All right, that's all we're really doing by bracing. Okay, we're creating a stronger casing for our spine. We're protecting it and we're holding it in so that we can safely work with heavy loads. All right, so now we've got that rack position, we've got that proper stance, we pulled air into our belly, we're holding it into our belly, staying nice and tight. We're nice and tight. Now we are ready to engage and initiate the front squat. Okay, so we're already in position to unrack the weight. We've unracked the weight now. The first thing you need to know about what you do in order to initiate a front squat versus a back squat is the difference between a hip hinge and a knee break. A hip hinge is what you're going to use for the back squat. That's when you send your hips back in order to initiate the movement. The difference between that and what we're going to use in the front squat is that the front squat is going to be a knee break. So that means the first movement that you're going to use in order to initiate the movement of doing a front squat is breaking the knees forward. So instead of sending the hips back like a back squat, the first movement for the front squat is actually going to be pushing the knees forward and then squatting down. Now, the entire time you're descending down into the front squat, obviously, in order to keep from dumping the weight, you're going to be more upright. So what I want you to focus on with bar placement and elbow placement is keeping those elbows up and in so that you can keep that chest up and keep your spine more upright so that you don't dump the weight. And as far as your feet, you're going to be driving through the outside of your heels while pushing your knees out so that you can better engage, again, your hamstrings and your ass as well as your anterior portion of your legs, your quads. So once we get down to proper depth, beware of butt wink, by the way, what you focus on then is driving through the ground very, very fast and explosively with as much force as you can, and really focus on kind of like with a deadlift, leading with your chest while keeping those elbows up and in as much as humanly possible. Doing that while focusing on continuing to push your knees out and accelerating through the movement all the way to the top is what's going to give you the best performance and best outcome while you're doing the front squat. If you're still having trouble initiating the proper movement pattern with the front squat, one of the simplest ways you can get a newbie to automatically kind of understand and realize how to properly do it is by simply doing a goblet squat. By focusing on having that dumbbell tucked up into your chest and hitting your belly and dropping down into a squat, it's naturally going to position you and get your body primed to be able to understand the muscle fibers that it needs to recruit and the movement patterns that it needs to initiate to better utilize and better position yourself for a proper front squat. So definitely throw goblet squats in if you're trying to master your form for someone that is a beginner and not accustomed to proper front squat mechanics. Hey guys, hopefully you got a little something from the tips and tutorials I just dropped on you. If you enjoyed it, you dig my style, and want a little bit more, then I got some awesome news. Alan's going to tell you about a powerful, free, and kick-ass gift I'm going to be hooking you up with. So without further ado, let's let Alan drop the outro on you. Again, thank you for having me. Keep kicking ass, keep taking names. Mandler, out.
So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I myself actually learned quite a bit, and I plan on implementing a lot of those tips into my own routine. If you guys would like more of Chandler's content, go over to his YouTube page and make sure you subscribe to his channel. He's also throwing down a free gift down in the description area called his Muscle Building Blueprint. Make sure you guys get your hands on a copy of this because his tips and his methods are not only effective, but they're fun as hell. And I know a lot of you are stuck in a rut in your boring ass routine. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and always remember, tread untamed.